Good morning, everyone. This is September the 13th, Wednesday, 10 o'clock, the quarterly meeting of the Westfield Building Corporation. Thank you all for coming. John, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
All right, we have a quorum. That would be me and Steve Latour. Looking at the minutes, next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from June 14th. I have reviewed the minutes and have asked for some changes to the minutes, particularly with the Old Town presentation. I don't think it was a couple of things that weren't covered were the fact that during the presentation, Curtis had suggested that there would be a delay in delivery of the garage after it was completed until the building wrap was completed. When I asked him about if that was the intent of what he was delivering, he indicated that that was the desired outcome. So I've asked that to be added to those minutes. So we'll hold those minutes until next time. Okay.
Or you can approve
Or you could,
these additions.
Okay, we can approve with those additions.
that is correct.
Okay. I would move that we approve them
With the additions you
with
just
these
stated.
additions of the stated.
I'll second.
You want to take a vote?
Now, yeah.
You
Aye.
both? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
aye.
great, perfect, thank you.
Okay, Good, we got that out of the way, good enough. Thank you.
We'll add those in there.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is update on Station 81, and that would be, hi, John. Good morning. How are you, Chief?
I'm good. How are you today?
Doing well.
Just a
What do you
few
got
things to
for
go
us?
over with the new station.
Pardon me?
Station 81 project, kind of where we're at today. We're moving along pretty well now.
Are we?
Yep. The sanitary sewer, as you know, is, I believe you heard, was all put in. It's done now. The water line's been ran. They videoed the sanitary sewer to send to citizens, and we're in the process right now. In the next few days, should have a meter from citizens to get water in the building. So that part of it's pretty much close to being complete, finally. So I know it was one of our big issues all along for quite some time to get that taken care of. So we're nearing the finish line on that part of it. The generator was delivered last Friday, is in place, and it will be hooked up to everything, and that part completed this Friday as the electricians get back and hook that up. They will, next Monday, they plan to start doing landscaping around the building, and trees, bushes, and everything else supposed to be in, should be in place, as well as seeding and getting that taken care of. So seemed like a pretty good time of year to get that taken care of. It's a good time of year to be planting seed and so forth. So that seems to be working out very well. The concrete drive around the side of the building has been formed up since last week. They called for concrete trucks, but unfortunately they're not able to get those. They scheduled it, and as soon as they could get trucks of concrete was this Thursday or Friday. I can't remember whether it's Thursday or Friday, but at the end of this week, that'll be poured and that'll be in place.
So how soon will we be able to drive on?
That concrete takes about 30 days to cure sufficiently for our large trucks to drive on, so 30 days, so a month from there. We're looking at the administration, the chief officers, to be moving in about 2 weeks to that portion of the building. And so let's say the 1st of October, we'll start transitioning, moving administration out to that building. And then by the end of October, right around the end of October, 1st of November, we will anticipate moving the operations out there. So we're getting very, very close at this point in time. There's still a lot of little things to do inside, you know, with cleaning, of course, but just little touch-ups here and there that we brought their attention, things they need to do, and they're slowly moving their things out. Another thing to note is this Friday we have at the current headquarters in Fire Station 81, we have a memorial tree that was memorializing Chad Hiddle that passed away from the fire department. and that tree will be moved to the new station. We have a tree moving company that will be in place, and that'll be moved to the new station this Friday. So a number of things going on in the near future.
Sounds like a good thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right thing. So, sewer and water, all of the infrastructure is all complete, all functioning and doing well.
Everything seems to be doing well. We're waiting for the water, of course. The meter has to come before they can hook
Okay.
the water up, but it's ready. Everything seems in place. As soon as they get that done, I'm sure they have to run a few tests as far as,
Okay.
you know,
Has
when
the
the water
building
comes
been pressure tested for water?
it's been pressure tested for water, yes. They brought in the little pallets of water, I guess, and pressure tested things at that point, and they've put water in the HVAC, which chillers and so forth, and those are currently running based on the water they put in them from those totes. So that's, you know, it's, air conditioning's been running at this point in time. They've tested it, balanced everything, so it's all in place. It's just mainly waiting for the domestic to come into the building.
Okay, sounds like be moved in by the end of the year
Absolutely,
and be
I
functioning.
hate to say yes, but that's our
Sounds
belief
like
at this point in time.
Okay, well, that sounds reasonable at this point. When can we have a hard date on move-in and ready to complete the project? Do you have any idea?
Like I said, that's our projection right now as far as moving in, by the end of this month, moving in the administration.
Okay,
And as long as, you know, everything passes the final inspection with the city and the fire marshal, which we haven't seen anything that would tell us otherwise. And wait for that concrete to cure so we can drive the apparatus around the station and get that in place. So that'll be by the end of October is what we're projecting right now.
and what about radio communications for the building?
Great, thank you. I did bring that. The radio communications, chief had a conversation, there's an email with the county and whatever, and at this point, it was being put off for numerous reasons, but they were able to get that taken care of, where next week they will be in the station starting to install everything that needs to be in there. They anticipate starting Monday on that, and it's a 10-workday process, so that's 2 weeks on the radio and alerting system, so we're way ahead of our move-in date for the operations side. You know, admin can move out without notification systems or whatever. We have handhelds or whatever, but for the crews to get in and actually operationally work, we absolutely need a radio system. So
Okay,
it
so-
appears that we're well ahead of that. So.
The priority is to move in, the radios come later. Got it, okay.
Everything seems to be
As long
playing
as
into
you're
place right
satisfied with
now.
that, I'm all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything about the bill that you're unhappy with or need to talk about?
Not at this point. The chief has a meeting set up next week with Hagerman to visit the issues they had with the concrete again and get their ideas of what they're going to do to finish that concrete to make it look a little bit better. They haven't told us what, though. They had a third party come in, and Hagerman hired a third party to come in and look at everything there and to come with the ideas, and they'll bring that to us on Monday.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
I think that's it at this point in
All
time.
right. John, where do we stand on money?
After we're on schedule, number one, as far as dollars. After Pay App 21, which is the last one that was approved, $1.189 million.
That's what's left.
That's what's left.
Is there a holdback on this until everything is
Yeah,
settled?
the retainage is in that.
Is that the retention?
No, there's also retainage in that. Yes.
I'm sorry.
There is retainage in that number
that,
that's
okay.
held out, yes.
All right.
What was the number again, John?
1.18 million,
Okay, that's what's left.
yeah.
What is the holdback out of that then?
I'd have to get you that number.
Okay, that's fine.
So just to elaborate, and I don't know if it's exact, but typically retainage is 10%, and then it scales down as you continue to complete projects. So you release as you go. At the end, we'll be holding a few $100,000 that will ultimately be released when project is complete.
Where are, since you're up, thanks for coming up to the mic, Jeremy, between you and John, where are we on any cost overruns that we're looking at this point? Are we finding funding for those?
We are, yeah, and it would not come back in front of the building commission,
Okay.
or, yeah, building corporation.
Yeah, Building Corp and the city council, so.
Correct. City council, the RDC will fund the projects that, or the pieces of the project that were not part of the building, which are the sewer, a trail, and a fiber run connection to get hard fiber to the building. All three of those pieces will come.
Okay, so the cost
the end of the
overruns include the soil stabilization,
Correct.
sewer and water, and ancillary trails and so forth.
Yeah, there's a right-of-way trail. You got, the laterals were included in the building project. The main extensions for sanitary and water were not. Primarily the sanitary main extension, and then, yes, the fiber component as well.
Okay, so we're going to be able to cover and close on this build out by the end of the year with the additional funds for the overage?
It would be surprising if retainage was completely released by the end of the year.
Okay,
but I
first
don't know
quarter
that
of
for sure.
next, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. All right. Thanks, John. Thanks, Jeremy. Next on the agenda,
May I ask a question?
yes, oh, please. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's not a major one, but I just wondered, when do you anticipate this, this is for the chief here, the building as far as like a public welcome or a ribbon cutting or something along those lines? Are you waiting till November when everything is there, or do you anticipate that happening before then?
Yes, talking to the chief, he would like to have things in place, everything functioning, and kind of go through and have, working and looking normal everyday firehouse as it should be. So then we'll, at that point in time, he hasn't set a date or even projected one at this point in time, but he has talked about it. So I think it's just a kind of wait and see. It may be by the end of the year, it may be the first of the year. I'm not quite sure yet. So we'll see how that plays out.
All right. And then my other question was more related to the financial piece. As far as this body is concerned, is there anything that we need to do to sort of officially close everything, or will that just stop once the funds run out? I'm assuming that way, like, this eventually would come off of our agenda probably after the first meeting of 2024.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah, this is your retainage number is 715K.
Okay.
That's current. And yes, so probably the first meeting of January, there's the completion of the project. It's done. So we could close out if that's what you would like to do, and then we move on to the next project.
I just want to make sure we weren't required to go see it at some point just to make sure, or any of those things, just so that we're doing our due diligence.
To my knowledge, there's no official action that needs to be taken. You've already taken all the actions that you need to. You can absolutely check out the building and give your blessing of completion if you'd like. So.
Got it.
The only blessing I'm looking for is the guys over there in blue who will be living in that building for the next 20 years. At least the next 20 years, yeah.
Hopefully longer than 20 years.
Yeah, but I do want to see the building when it's done, simply because I'm excited about it. I think everyone is. Thanks for the questions there. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Next on the agenda is an update from the Moffett Group in Old Town about the parking garage. Hi, Curtis.
Curtis Addison, Old Town Companies. So yeah, I sent you some pictures to look at today, but we'll start with the schedule. Original schedule, garage 11/23/23. Last quarter was 3/25. We had a slippage as we were getting through drain encapsulation approvals that we discussed in previous meetings. Since then, the project has slid, continued to slide just a little bit from that. Reasons for that are sanitary taps and tie-ins with municipalities and just working through that. Now, these are actual dates of where we're sitting today. As I get through the apartments and what we're getting ready to go through scope, we're looking at picking up quite a bit of time between now and early spring next year through the concrete scope. So I'll talk briefly real quick about the apartments. Original 5/31/24. Again, major delay through the encapsulation approvals to 4/1, and you can see that slipped about 15 days outside of that into April 15th of the year 25. We're now getting ready to set to mobilize our concrete vendor, Lithgow, and currently the durations that we've kept in our scope of work was getting them started in August, moving through March of 24. So they are currently mobilizing, so slightly behind schedule on the mobilization just due to some of the delays coming out of the ground. But we are now finding that their durations, instead of being out through March, are looking closer to the end of January, early February. So we're looking to pick up about a month in the concrete scope on our schedule. So even though you're seeing actuals here today, I'm hopeful to come back next quarter and tell you we've kind of picked all that time back up. So we're looking forward to that and kind of getting back on track with the schedule. The last 90 days, drain encapsulation was completed, sanitary main bypass, 2 sanitary tie-ins and a water service tap, both installed. We've got all the storm drain completed. The aggregate piers for the foundation work has been completed. And we've got the building pad and the stormwater vaults all dug and prepped and ready to go for concrete. You'll notice NDOT's Ella's demo has also been completed, so that gives us some laydown area in our site. So that was exciting to us to see that progress and come in on schedule. So that leads us to the next 90 days. Cast and plate concrete detention vault underneath the garage will go in first, followed by footings, walls, columns, and then PT slabs. So you'll start to see the project start to go vertical, which will be exciting. We'll also do the underslab storm drain and plumbing and electrical rough-ins and everything that goes in with that to bring all those utilities into the building and be ready to go vertical up with the building. What is exciting about this project is we are getting a full tower crane that will be installed in the elevator shaft. So that'll be a fun, mostly for the kids that are running around the park, but it'll be exciting. And what that'll do is it'll allow all of our trades, not just the framing, but masons, siding, everybody, drywall, to bring material in the building. So that's really going to help expedite hoisting and material deliveries for the site on through. So we're hoping that that also helps pick us up some time all the way through the project. There's been negotiations with the framer who is bringing in the tower crane that will keep it on site after that to utilize for other trades. They've all bought in and negotiated on sharing that cost. So that's exciting. That'll go up here pretty soon, at least the first section with the elevator shaft getting poured. And then as we start to go vertical, we'll bring in behind the waterproofing vendors to get the outside of the concrete walls waterproofed, and then that'll allow us to start backfilling and get rid of some of the dirt that you see piled up there on site back around the building here in the next 3 months. So, and then what that allows is kind of the east side of the site there to start to work those grades in the corner over by the firehouse to where we can really start the kind of relocation process and finalizing the grade designs and designs for those future buildings there over there by the standing firehouse. If you go to the next slides, these are just kind of some of the things we've been going through in the last 90 days. So you got your grading and compaction across the whole site. You can see they've started the compaction in the corner over by the firehouse in lifts to help us get back up to grade on Jersey Street. And then the picture to the right there is kind of the overall site getting prepped and ready for the rammed aggregate piers. The next slide is your sanitary main, your bypass and your sanitary main taps into the project. So, and those are just big milestones to get through. They just take time. There's a lot of coordination with the municipalities and then inspections and stuff. So it's always nice to kind of get through that. And so you're now back to kind of working inside your own site, and you can kind of keep tabs on your own stuff. The Kendall drain box culvert, that's just some fabrication pictures. It was a really unique part of this project. It was fun, and now it's buried and gone, and no one will ever see it again. But it was exciting, and it went very smooth in the process of getting that installed. And there's some pictures of that on the next slide as well. From the park side, you can see down it. It is 10 by 14 feet, so it's a big drain encapsulation. And then storm drain, again, just getting all the infrastructure in for the utilities, sanitary and water utilities on the next slide. And then the last big milestone that we hit was the aggregate piers. Those guys are hard to schedule and get on your site. If you miss windows for them, they just can't pop in and out. They're all over the country. So they come in 2 weeks and they're done, and they're out of there. So just get you fully ready for your foundations and your concrete mobilization. So looking forward to that, and that's currently where we're at in the project.
I've driven by there and looked at it, done a lot of work, and
Yep.
I like that. I have a question for you about the elevator. You say the elevator's been changed in order to be able to lift materials from the ground floor up. Is that a change to the original design?
No, sorry, I didn't mean, the elevator is not changing. We are utilizing the elevator shaft,
The shaft itself?
the shaft itself, to bring the tower crane up with the building. So the tower crane will actually continue to jump up levels as we frame and go up levels with the elevator shaft. So
Understood.
no change to the shaft. It's just it'll have a tower crane in it for a while.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a good use for it.
Yeah.
Until it gets an elevator.
You usually don't get that unless you're doing high rises and downtowns. So it's exciting to have a kind of a big component of a project like that. It'll be fun to watch and see the efficiencies that it allows a project to have like this.
So now that we have a good, clear definition of what the land looks like and how everything's going to lay in there, how many car spaces are we going to have?
How many what?
Car spaces.
Car
in the-
spaces.
in the-
I don't. Do you have that off the top of your head? I'll have to get back to you. Yeah, I'll have to get back to you. I can shoot
Well, it
that
comes
information
down,
over to you.
the question has
Yeah.
another component to it. So when you look to see how many they are, I also need to know how many you're leasing.
Correct. So much like our project in Noblesville, we'll go through and identify leased spaces versus public spaces and how that operates, turnover, and how those are identified. We have not fully gone through that process yet with here Westfield folks, but we'll identify a drawing and say, hey, here's the parking spaces we would like to utilize. We'd like to have spots on each level so that it's easier for the tenants to kind of get into their spaces. Understood. But we fully understand that the city has needs and wants, and so we'll work with you guys to get that all finalized, and we can press that forward now that we've kind of got final design all wrapped up and we're well underway with that.
If you wouldn't mind, include that in your next update. You
Yeah.
don't need to rush out and figure that out right now, but
Yeah.
the next time we get together and talk about it, I'd like to know those two things.
Yeah, and we'll add that. We're currently talking with Jeremy and John Nail about additional services for the garage, whether there's a gate arm, there's a space indicator of occupancy level, so you don't have to go in the garage and drive around and find out there's no spaces, on a big event or something like that. So we're working through that. We're working through access control and camera layout as well. So I can give you an update on all that in our next meeting.
Okay, good. That would be
300 total spaces from Kim
300
Hansen.
total.
Kim Hansen in the
Okay,
back.
thank you. Steve,
I do not have any questions.
No questions, thanks.
thank you.
Absolutely.
John?
Currently, there's nothing further for this agenda.
So is there any spend on this project at this point at all?
On our behalf, not, nothing going through this count, or through this group, yes.
Okay. Are there any gates or windows with our lenders that we have to be concerned about at this point where funding
None
is
at this,
jeopardized?
yeah, none at this time, is
Okay.
given the schedule that he's presented.
All right, good, thank you. Appreciate that. Is there, John, or is there anything else that's coming up that we should be thinking about or be aware of at this point?
Could you give me a little narrower?
The answer is probably no.
Yeah,
I think the only two things that would be upcoming for the group that are publicly discussable would be the police headquarters will likely come to the building corp, and very potentially Station 84. Both of those are in the early phases of design and, design team procurement.
Police headquarters and
Fire Station
no, this-
84.
84, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any horizon that you've looked at for those when they're going to get started where we would be involved?
We're a good ways away from financing, and you all wouldn't be, there's no guarantee, number one, that they will be financed in a mechanism that requires the building corporation to be in, or to be involved, but either way, we're years probably, at least a year away from financing, so.
Thank you, Jeremy. Any questions? Steve, any comments?
I have no additional comments.
Nor do I. Should we adjourn? Steve, adjourn?
Yeah.
Yes, me too. Okay. Meeting adjourned at 10:26.
Do you need this note back, or can I keep it? Sure. And I'll update it, and then.
You don't have to take my words verbatim.